Truth is, both spirituality and science are essential to human beings and always have been. Strangely enough, the same scientific method that once compelled us to question the existence of God is now, by way of advanced physics and cosmology, developing evidence that tends to support our age-old belief in a transcendent power. A sea change has occurred, though many readers of time may not have oriented themselves yet to a quantum universe, where the same tiny particle may occupy two places at one time, or react instantly to events light years away. Where the net energy of the cosmos is zero, yet there is more energy in the vacuum of space than in all the stars, where physics is close to proving that material reality emerges from a common source, which Dr. Baumick will refer to as the primary field. Is this the field where God has been at play all along? Can mankind tune in God's frequency once again? Dr. Baumick believes we can, in part by means of our own quantum leap in consciousness. The ideas and observations offered in the following surely cannot span the measure of that leap, for your own full participation is essential. Perhaps, though, Dr. Baumick's story will encourage you to take a further step on life's greatest journey. If you're listening to this book, you've already embarked. This is the memoir of Dr. Baumick's quest for a new kind of faith. It is a faith in which mind and matter entwine, yet it is anchored in the empirical precepts of science. It is a belief system that says directed consciousness can promote spontaneous remission of a life-threatening disease, a personal quantum leap. It embraces a worldview wherein quantum leaps do occur, not just in the atomic and subatomic domain, but in human existence itself, be it in the unfolding of an individual life, in a societal change, or in a country's struggle for freedom. You will not be asked to accept that view on faith. Let Dr. Baumick offer a proof of it, by way of his own life, starting at the point when he was the least certain of its meaning and value.
1. After the ball. From the beginning there was a touch of unreality about my life in the fast lane. I am a scientist, not a celebrity, and the scientist in me is forever asking, what's wrong with this picture? The balcony of my home in Bel Air, California, faced the Pacific, and from it I could see Catalina Island miles offshore. Its golden hills were haloed by the setting sun. Its mythically named port of Avalon teased me, a self-made millionaire, just as the green light on Daisy Buchanan's pier had taunted Jay Gatsby, reminding him that in spite of his accomplishments, he would never truly belong to her world. As I looked on, the island might suddenly vanish from the horizon like a trick of the light, and sadness would envelop me as thickly as a coastal fog. Was my wealth likewise illusory? Were the trappings of my success as ephemeral as that distant island seemed to be? And if not, why did I want more? Why wasn't I satisfied? After all, I had come to America from a place where a man with a roof over his head and a cow might well be the richest man in town. Could it be that I had left something behind? In the early stages of this spiritual crisis, when I doubted the reality of my fortune, I could stroll the perimeter of my Olympic-sized pool, watch the videotape of my turn on lifestyles of the rich and famous, or hop into my Rolls-Royce and visit one of 5 other houses I'd built with the bounty of my work in laser technology. And if that inventory failed to reassure me, I could look forward to the evening's gala, where once again my driveway would fill with the limousines of the celebrities and moguls whose company I was now entitled to keep. The presence in my home of titled aristocrats and trendsetters seemed empirical proof of the fact that I had escaped the horror and hopelessness of my childhood, and would live happily ever after. Before long, however, even the prospect of Chateau Lafite Rothschild and Beluga caviar, of witty conversation and glamorous women, and of the affirmation of status that all of this provided, failed to dispel either the monotony of going from excitement to excitement or the gnawing sense of having lost my way. One hears often of spiritual rebirth arising from despair and destitution, but as in the examples of St. Francis, St. Augustine, and the Buddha, it can also be prompted by an absence of want, a compulsive consumption, a queasy feeling of being overfed and undernourished at the same time. The result, if it is not substance abuse or mental illness, can be a profound and pervasive discontent, a sense of letdown, succinctly expressed in Peggy Lee's classic ballad, "Is That All There Is?" My Peggy Lee moment arrived, if such things can be pinpointed, on a breezy night following yet another soiree at my Bel Air estate. The limousines had departed, the caterers had packed up, and I was alone beside the swimming pool, the faint sounds of other parties, far too many to attend them all, echoing in the deep, leafy canyon. A place card rustled past my feet, nudged by the wind. I looked down and saw that it bore the name of a famous guest. I don't recall who it was, only that it suddenly did not matter. Curiously, I found myself staring at my shoes, good Italian leather. They were barely worn, and they might not be worn again. After all, I had a closet full. But once upon a time, I had walked the rice fields of Bengal, India, barefoot, the smell and the texture of shoe leather as foreign to me as foie gras. I didn't own my first pair of shoes until I turned 16. In those days, though my stomach ached from hunger and my pulse throbbed with the anxiety of an uncertain tomorrow, I never walked alone. All around me in the damp-infested night, embedded in the very fabric of the perfumed darkness, was the undeniable presence of that living web from which all things are born and continually unfold. That presence which the Vedic rishis call Brahman, and that Lao Tzu called the Tao. He that the prophets of the book called Yahweh or Allah, and that later in my own life I would come to call the One Source. At once, I knew the cause of my unhappiness. That presence was missing. The darkness, on that night in Los Angeles, held no such all-pervading presence. And since what is truly ageless and unchanging can never simply go poof, the cause of its absence, I realized, must be an emptiness within me. In the language of theology, this peculiar kind of sadness is called a loss of faith. Some trauma or disillusionment has shaken our belief that something holds everything together. I had made my way in the world as a scientist, supposedly immune to such spiritual desolation. Was I really immune? I believe no one truly is. Oddly enough, it was as a scientist that I'd once glimpsed evidence of a cosmic unity that is beyond blind faith. Could I find such unity again? From the days of my boyhood in India, from the example of my father and my grandmother, and especially of the great Mohandas K. Gandhi, I had learned that faith must always be underwritten by action. I was also fortunate enough to observe Mother Teresa epitomize faith in action with her unwavering dedication to helping the poorest of the poor in Calcutta. I stooped to pick up the stray place card, along with champagne corks, cocktail napkins, and other detritus of that night's urgent merriment, and dropped them into the trash. Then I resolved that I would pledge myself to working in concert with others of a common desire to forge a new alloy of spirituality and science, one strong enough, even in its web-like delicacy, to withstand the centrifugal forces of our age. However many or few houses I was destined to own in the future, I did not want to feel again so completely alone in them. However many lovely islands I might be privileged to gaze at, I wanted to know that both their worldly reality